In this video, I want to take a few moments and review the second project description to make sure that you understand where you're going and how you're going to present this sort of argument. To begin, though, I want to start by saying that this project is almost identical in nature and scope to the first project, in which you had to create a code that you in turn described its functions as well as the purpose and audience for it. In the second project, you aim to complete a set of similar steps, however the code already exists. In any academic discipline you participate, whether you're a business student, whether you're an art major, whether you're an engineer, whether you're pre-med, it doesn't matter. Every field has its own citation style. Most of us are familiar with MLA if we've had any writing classes in high school, for example, or any E&C courses like ours currently. However, many other kinds of formatting citation styles exist, and you should at least be familiar with the one that you're probably going to have to use the most throughout your academic career, if not career as well. However, I do give you the option of choosing, and if you'd like to choose MLA or APA, you're very welcome to choose either. However, other examples do exist. If you were to Google citation styles, you might find a great Wikipedia article on a list of them. Here I'm taking some information from American University's website, and you can see some examples. For example, American Anthropological Association, American Chemical Society, American Institute of Physics, Blue Book, Chicago, Harvard, AP, APA, APSA, ASA, Turabian, all different kinds of style guides that allow you to understand how citations should be organized. Different types of citation styles below here, so you can get more resources on them. Up in the left-hand, in the URL, you can see what the actual link is, subjectguides.library.american.edu/citation. Some great resources if you're looking for more reading on any topic you choose, if not MLA or APA, which I'm sure you can find at the Purdue OWL for either topic. To return to the paper, though, here my question is this. What connection exists between academic civility and style rules, or citation style rules? That is, why do we have these rules? Why do you have to italicize book titles or long work titles, or put quotes around something, or give a citation or a credit to someone whose information you're using? Yes, you're required to do that, but that's not why everyone else does it. That's why we do it in our class. I agree and I admit that. In the real world, though, where people write to be read and have peers who also are in that field and want to read material they can learn from, they have specific sets of style guides and citation rules that limit them in how they should understand and process and put information together for their readers. Without these markers, however, documents start to look wrong. I use as a simple analogy the idea that a handshake is not a high five and a high five is not a handshake. However, both are two hands meeting for some sort of connection and to espouse some sort of connection. However, were you to go to a job interview and high five that person whom you meet that day to interview you, you might set off a couple of different alarms. Whereas had you shaken the person's hand, you'd find that that person might receive you differently. The right kind of etiquette and the understanding of your etiquette marks you as a person and is some sort of element about you that other person will read. Similarly, for academics, if you know how to use the code and you know how to use the style and make it apparent in your document, people will trust you more likely than not if you were to use the code correctly. Whereas if you don't use the code correctly, if you use the style incorrectly, people will automatically be suspicious, if not completely incredulous of your actions, of your words, and just cast doubt upon you. So there is a connection between citation and civility, academic civility here. Your goal as you write this paper is to write a 1,000-word minimum document, say 3 to 4 pages, in which you explain how does citation style engender academic civility. I ask that you find examples of each style guide, maybe 5 rules, maybe 6 rules, whether it's punctuation, maybe it's footnotes and endnotes, maybe it's the style of the font, maybe it's the margins. Some recommend 1-inch margins, some recommend 2-inch margins. What's the benefit of a 1-inch margin or a 2-inch margin? Below here in red are a couple pieces of information you should understand as you complete this assignment. 1, you have to go through at least one draft, a rough draft of the paper, and meet with either me or our TA, Will Mackey, and review that full draft. If you fail to do this, you will have to lose 33% of your overall grade, or 5 points of your final grade. As I reminded you in the first module, students who tend to go through more drafts and have more meetings they tend to score better on these papers because the product is more refined, they've asked more questions, and they spent more time on it. So that is, typically the more work you put into your writing effort, the better your final work tends to be. So if you're the kind of person who thinks, I can write this document in one sitting, and you're happy with the grade you normally receive, well, wonderful. Just make sure that you proofread it and turn it in. However, if you're the kind of person who wants to improve her writing, someone who wants to do better on that draft, well, it takes more time, and that's the reason why you're taking these steps and working on your process. As a note, as with the last paper, any work that is materially out of sync with MLA requirements for formatting or works cited, your paper will lose a quarter of its grade. So make sure your paper has 1-inch margins. Make sure you double space it. Make sure you indent every paragraph with a 1/2 inch indent. If you don't know how to do these things, use Google. It'll tell you how to set up these standards. Also, don't forget to include in your upper right-hand header, not at the top of the document in your body, but in the header, your last name and page number for all your pages after the first page. Simple formatting things that make the document look right. Because the very first thing I'll admit to you is that if you fail to actually make the document look right, I'm not thinking the highest of the paper as I start grading it. So do yourself a favor. Make sure that you're going to create this document in a way that's formatted correctly, so I have nothing to say about it before I actually get to your content. It bodes well for you in that case. Also, make sure that you do have 1,000 words in the body of your essay. That's not including works cited, that's not including header, or your heading information in the header. It has to be 1,000 words. Otherwise, you lose a quarter of the paper's grade. So make sure you meet these minimum requirements, and everything after that should go pretty well. If you have questions in the meantime, please feel free to email me, and I'll try to answer your questions as quickly as possible.